everybody, welcome. I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is another episode of Put It Together Conversations. How's everybody doing? I want to welcome all of our friends on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Remember, whatever channel you're watching on, you can be part of the conversation. You can join us to the whole show, post your questions, make comments, and be part of the show. Today's guest, I see we've already got some people on hold there. Today's guest is that Nurse Missy. And Missy and I became friends. Before I read her bio, I want to just say a quick, because once we get on the show, I'll probably forget. But Nurse Missy, I met her on TikTok. And the first time I saw her was the day that my mom passed away. I was feeling a little blue and I was scrolling through TikTok, just trying to look for something to cheer me up. And I bumped into one of her live videos. And I said hi to her. And she said hi. And I offered her a reading. And it took her a while, and then she said yes, and we finally met up for coffee. Oddly enough, for Zoom talk. Interesting enough, the day that we Zoomed together was the day that they buried my mom. So she was the first person that I talked to that morning, besides my partner. So she has been a very big part of my life lately, and we've become friends. So let me read you her bio. Missy is an RN and a soul empowerment coach. Her passion is empowering people to live fully and authentically from their heart. And let me, without much more, bring her over. Oh, before I go, for those of you that are new to the show, Put It Together Conversations is a show about folks, where they come from, where they are now, and what their story is. And the idea is to inspire and motivate other people to go after their dreams and goals. So with that, here's Missy. Hi, Missy.
Hey, Daniel. Thank you for having me, honey.
My pleasure. We've already got a bunch of people waiting to say hi to you. Paula, Christian, Tammy, Sandy, Roderick, another hello, Sandy, another Tammy saying hello. Like all
Tammy,
these folks, Tammy, Sandy, they're all saying hi to each other. I feel like they know each other.
They do.
Randy James.
All right. Oh my God, this is so exciting. So these are my friends. These are my TikTok friends. This is my community, my family. These have been some of my greatest supporters truly in life, but especially on TikTok and everything. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank y'all so much. There's Robin. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And we're excited to have you, Rob. So thank you for joining us. Now, am I correct in saying that this is your first live streamed interview? Is that correct?
Correct. You're my first, Daniel.
Yes. It's not very common that a woman says that to me, but I will take it.
It's not often that I say it to, so yes, here we are. There's always a first time for everything, honey. Yeah, this is my first live stream.
Now, as I mentioned, we met through TikTok during the lockdown.
Yes, God bless TikTok.
Is that why you came onto TikTok during the lockdown?
Yes. So it was in February of 2020. And I was at home bored like everybody else. At that time, it was actually March. We had just entered into quarantine, and I actually wasn't working. I had not been working for a few months. Just working on some things, being a homemaker, wife and homemaker. And it was official. We went into quarantine and I was like, oh, I've got to go back to work. I was like, I can't, as a registered nurse, I can't stay home during a pandemic. So I got a part-time job in a clinic, but then I also got on TikTok, which has turned into a full-time job, and it's been amazing. But it just started out very organically. I was on, I had created an account and was on for weeks, probably maybe a month, before I ever made my first TikTok. And it was something very silly, and it was fun. And I just continued from there. And yeah, and then now here we are. Awesome. A year and a half later, Daniel.
Now, for those of you watching, you might recognize some things on the shot right there. There's my Jesus.
JC.
There's my Jesus.
Yep.
And my Missy bracelet.
Missy Montague. Yep.
There.
Missy Montague.
Missy was so cool to send this to me. So it's awesome. And he's been sitting here. This is my where I hold. This is my little.
Your sacred place.
Yeah. So he's been sitting here watching over everything. He plays with the crystal balls and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Well, I know that people have questions, and I want to hear your story. So that Nurse Missy, tell us how you put it together.
Gosh. Ever since I was, my earliest, fondest memories were me as just a little girl being raised in a very traditional Southern church. I was actually raised Presbyterian. So we went to a Presbyterian church as well as I would often go with friends to Baptist church. And home was not the greatest place. So church was like a really fun place for me. It was always a safe space. I loved vacation Bible school, singing the songs, making the crafts. Just everything. I loved everything about church, and I took everything very literally. They raised me to believe that, to know that Jesus was my best friend, that Jesus was always with me, that we were just supposed to love people no matter what. Jesus loves all the little children, black, white, yellow, blah, blah, blah. And I took all that to be very literal. So I always just grew up being a lover and being a friend of Jesus, and he was always with me. And just as life went on, as a teenager and just, as things happen in your life, I just always never lost sight of Jesus. And no matter what happened, bad things happened, I always had Jesus with me. And I always just knew that I was going to be okay. And I just always had this tremendous heart. So I got into nursing. I always just wanted to help people. That's my life purpose. That's my soul's purpose. That's why I'm here, just to help people in whatever capacity that is. So maybe as a teenager, I was helping people by just being a good friend or being a good listener. And then as a nurse, I was, helping people in, nursing, things like that. So I've just always been a helper. But in the most recent years, I would say in the last four years, I started taking yoga one day, just literally up and was like, oh, it's time to start yoga. And so I just, started taking yoga and kind of began the spiritual awakening, not with the intention of doing so. It just happened as I was practicing yoga and getting to know my physical body, my energetic body. And these were new things to me. And as I started doing yoga and things started coming up and I started healing things on a deeper level than I ever had before. I had been in therapy, I had been in counseling off and on, but this was a deeper healing that I had never experienced. And I had a great yoga instructor. Her name is Amy, and she just lovingly guided me. And I had this spiritual awakening in the subsequent years, I developed spiritual gifts and just continue to help people. So now I'm still a registered nurse, but I also am a soul empowerment coach. I'm an intuitive healer. I'm a medium. I'm intuitive. And I just help people remember who they are. I help people remember who they are, and I help remind them that there's always hope. And I love to empower people. I love to help people realize that we've given our power away, that it's just a mindset. So I call myself a soul coach. Some people call themselves empowerment coach, mindset coach, whatever it is. I help people remember who they are and whose they are, because I do believe we are created in the image of God. So everything I do is very much guided around our soul's purpose, because we're so much more than just this physical body. And when we get so wrapped up in that, we just get too focused on here and now and what's in front of us. So I use, I don't know, every day I wake up with just like, okay, how can I help people today? How can I be the medicine? How can I be the answer to a prayer? How can I help empower people and give them hope? And that's what I try to do every day.
And I'm not going to cry and I'm not going to get mushy. So stop it, people.
Oh, no. Are we crying already? Are we crying already?
No. I'm not wearing waterproof mascara, so we're not going to do the tears. So, one of the things that I love about you is like these different, and I don't mean like double face. I just mean like you have these different sides to you, but kind of like me.
I'm multifaceted, like a diamond.
Faceted, yeah. it's one of those things that attracted me to you, and I think that's one of the reasons. If I'm bold enough to say that, one of the reasons we get along so well is because we both have like, okay, I'm doing this kind of work, I'm there,
Yeah.
and then it's like, shh, okay, I'm gonna be a little serious, like let me put this in your face, and then the other one is like, I'm just gonna be silly today. Is that your normal you? If somebody met you in person, that's normal you?
Yeah. People that have known me ever since kindergarten will tell you I'm the same today as I was 20 years ago. They'll tell you that across the board. Across the board, I'm no different here than I am. As soon as I turn this off, I'm the same. I'm the same. I don't know how else to be. There have been times off and on in my life where I did try to be something other than what I was, but it never worked out very well. And it only lasted for like a couple of days. Like I couldn't maintain it. Like there's no, and also look, I'm 5'10". I've always been like a physical presence. Like there's no fading into the background. Like and I'm loud. I'm very Southern. It's hard to go unnoticed, whether I'm trying to be noticed or not. So even when I tried to be something other than what I was, it was impossible, unfortunately, even though I tried. So
Can you see what's on the screen right now? Because I hear you say that all the time.
That's my friend Julie. I have a charcuterie board, but it's true. But this is the thing. Some people think, okay, well, I'm just this. I'm just a nurse, and that's all I am. It's like, okay, well, no, you're so much more than that. Like I am. I cannot be put in a box. And there is no box. There isn't a box there, and that's the other thing we try. That's the other thing. We separate ourselves based on gender, nationality. And the truth is, we can't be placed in that. I'm not just a white woman from Louisiana. I'm a soul. I'm an energetic body. I'm an eternal, living, energetic being here having a temporary human experience. But that's what we all are. And helping people realize that you too don't have to just be a housewife. You are more than just a mom. You are more than just some guy working at, whatever. Like you are so much more than that. Like you're so much more than that. And you can be multifaceted, but we got this script. Okay, here you're a poor white girl from the backwoods of Louisiana. So you're racist, you're a Christian, you're this, that, and people look at me and they see those things because that's the script. That's the stereotype. And a lot of us were sold the fucking lie, and we bought it, and we asked for a second helping, and we live it, and we live that lie, and we play out the script. But then there are those of us who go, this doesn't make sense because this isn't who I am, and this doesn't match up. I'm trying to help wake people up. And not only, I think people know at their core because that doesn't align with your spirit. And they know something's amiss. They know something's not right, but they don't know. So that's where I come along. I give tough love because I'm like, we don't have time to dance around the problem. You need to know today, I'm telling you right now, what's wrong. Like look inside yourself. Now you tell me, does that make sense? And they're like, no, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. Okay, then why are you doing it? Shit, I don't know. Exactly. So stop. Like it's that simple. Like but people, we're conditioned to need permission. We're conditioned to put our power outside of ourselves. We're conditioned to ask, can I have another helping? Can I go to bed now? Is it okay? Is this adequate? Am I lovable? I did this, I made an F. Am I still lovable? So we look for approval outside of ourselves. So I help people with their sovereignty.
And sometimes, and you're so right, because no matter what your background is, like for instance, as a Latino man, there was this stereotype that was put on me, like especially the place like Monterrey, Mexico, where I come from. It's very macho, it's very manly, and then the moment that I was gay, it's like, okay, so the moment that the people knew I was gay, it's like, oh, okay, so you're submissive. And we can boss you around. Yeah. But all those ideas, I'm like you, like they were put in my head. And for a while there, I was like, okay, so that's what I am. I will live comfortably in that space. until somebody comes along and goes, do you know how much you're missing out there? And like, do you realize? And you're like, does that make sense?
Yeah. 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 You just have that moment where you wake up, where it just, and it is, it's, that's why it's like, stay woke. It's like, no, wake up. And once you wake up, you can't really go back to sleep. Once you realize the box and the script and all that was just a lie, like, you're like, how can I go back that? And I tell people, one of my favorite quotes is Harriet Tubman says, I could have freed 1,000 more slaves if only they'd known they were slaves. You can be sitting in a prison and be freer in your mind than your neighbor across the street. Because it's your mindset. This is the prison. It's a literal prison. So I just help people realize the lie and quit buying more, like a second and a third helping of the bullshit. It's like, no, you're sovereign. You don't have to look outside yourself for anything. You don't have to look outside yourself for validation, approval, because the problem is, especially, is we're looking for approval from people that hate themselves. We're looking for approval and validation from people that haven't lived authentic. Like, can I get a hallelujah? Can I get
I should be seeing amen on the screen right now, people.
Like, can I get a hallelujah? Like, you're asking for approval and validation from someone who doesn't even know who they are. Now, see, I got 99 problems with that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to put me down, I'm going to need you to come at me with something a little bit better. Like, you got to show me the stats. You got to have the cred, babe, and you ain't got it. Like, you ain't got it. Like, you ain't got it. So,
so let me remind everybody, you're watching Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. My guest today is the amazing Missy. You know her from TikTok, you know her from Instagram. She's here with us today. And we're talking about tough love, stepping out of the box, and maybe being a little uncomfortable sometimes. So if you have any questions or any comments, please post them on the comment line, and I'll make sure that she reads them. You guys are just sending the comments left and right, and I love that. Thank you for participating. But if you have a question that I'm not asking, please put it in the comment section, and we'll make sure that she sees it. And I hope you get a chance to go back and watch the video, because they are just sending you comments left and right.
This community, I have an intention. I wake up every day, and this is my prayer. I wake up and I say, thank you for this day. How may I serve? How can I be the medicine? How can I answer a prayer? Hey, Lisa. And I say, how can I answer a prayer? And that's my intention. Now, how that comes into fruition is God's, who knows. So today it might have been a TikTok that spoke to someone's heart. And I do, and I say this very humbly, I get so many messages from people saying they were ready to, give up hope. They were ready to, you saved my life. And while I know I'm just the hands and the feet, that's tremendous. There is no, I can't think of anything greater than to give someone hope. So Lisa is someone who a very long time ago commented on a post on a TikTok I had made. And I have a scar. I don't know which direction it's pointing, but I have a scar in the middle of my forehead. And when I pucker my eyebrows, when I have something to say that is very meaningful, it creates what looks like a musical note that Lisa is posting. And when she posted about it the first time, because I kind of, at that time, being on social media, you don't know what to expect, and I would get hate comments and stuff. And she made a comment about my scar, and I commented back and I said, "Are you making fun of my scar?" And she said, "No, honey, when you deliver a message that's from God, it turns into a musical note." Because I have two little lines beside it. And they say, so I have this series that says Missy Mind You, where Missy Mind You, I speak to hearts, but they mind me right back. and they have supported me, and they have been through this community, this TikTok community of all things, the social media where we have laughed together, we have cried, and we have been scared, and we have lifted each other up. And before we could get up, sometimes we just laid on the floor together and cried. I know their children, I know their stories, I know about their relationships, and they know mine. And it's just an amazing community with people that I've never met. And it's just God. It's just God working, and it's beautiful. And they support me, and I support them, and it's just beautiful.
That's pretty cool. Now we have a big question, I think, out here. She says,
Right.
your humble heart aside, from your Missy side of screen, what is it like to reflect and see the current Missy you are now and impact you have on so many hearts?
What is it like to reflect? It's very surreal. It's just so humbling. It's just so humbling, but it also makes everything that I have survived worth it all. Because I can only speak about what I've lived through. I can't speak about anything that I haven't overcome myself. So it makes those nights where you thought you weren't going to make it, those nights where you're like, God, just take me. This is it, But here we are, and it makes, I can stand at this vantage point and look back and just stand here with Jesus at my side and go, you never left me. And I'm so glad I didn't give up, because now I can speak life, and I can encourage other people, and that makes it all worth it. And that means no matter what happens today, I will turn it into how is this happening for me, not to me, because no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And if he is for me, who can be against me? So, and it just knowing that no matter what I go through, I will turn it around and be the victor, and not the victim.
And that is so what they're saying right now.
Lisa.
Missy teaches us through our scars we have strength and beauty. Yeah, and I mean one thing. Okay, I'm trying not to just like love on her, but it's my show, folks, so deal with it.
You do what you want. This is your script.
This is my show, people. But one of the things that I like so much, and I'll come back to that question. One of the things that when I watch you, and I so love when you jump on my live streams and we're there for each other. It's because, and again, I humbly say it. It's because we don't talk about crap that we have. Like, I'm not going to tell you to jump if I haven't jumped myself.
Exactly. Authenticity.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Authenticity. Walking the walk and talking the talk. Walking the walk and talking. She's saying we're all wearing our bracelets with Missy minding us daily. So they make their own. So look, earlier. So one of the first videos I made that really resonated on a large scale, I let them know that they could go. So I want to tell a story. I was driving to work. I told you I had started a job when quarantine went in. And so I started a new job at a clinic. And it was a great clinic job. I was so grateful to be able to get out and serve. I was so grateful because in quarantine, they had locked us down. You had to have a good reason to be out in the street. So I was grateful to just have a reason to be out. So I was driving to work, and I always have Jesus with me, and we're always talking, and we're singing and dancing. And I was like, wow, Jesus, I'm so excited to go to work this morning. Like, I'm truly so excited to be up and in scrubs and be going to work. And I was like, it hurts my heart to know that there are people who don't feel like this and don't feel like this going to work. And I said, Jesus, how can I speak to those people? How can I speak to those people? And so as soon as I pulled into the parking lot, I put my phone on my little dash and I made a TikTok. And I said, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're up against, but whatever it is, you can rise above it and go out there and make today your bitch. And then I posted it. I went into work. So, I have to, turn off the alarm, turn everything on, And so by the time I get settled in, turn all the computers on, it's like an hour later and the thing had like blown up. And I was like, oh, it resonated. To this day, I never put out anything where I go, man, people are going to love this. This is going to get 1 million views. I always post or put out something and I go, first of all, I always send it out with a prayer and an intention. Let the hearts that need to receive it, receive it. Let the ears that need to hear it, hear it. Let the hearts that need to receive it, receive it. Sorry. Lord, there's a cat outside the window having an issue. Live TV, people. I was like, Lord, what is that? So let the ears that need to hear it, hear it. But, so that's always my intention. And look, some of these might flop. They might get 1,000 views and that's it. And then something, the most recent video that I was like, I made it and sat on it for like 3 days before I posted it. And I literally watched it and I was like, oh, I'm going to delete it. And the only reason why I didn't delete it, I was like, nobody's going to care about this video. It's not even going to get any views. It's a waste of time. It's like, it's not going to resonate. And the only reason why I didn't delete it, because I'd spent like 2 minutes on it. So I was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and post it. It might resonate with like one or, I was like, honestly, it might resonate with a couple hundred people and it'll speak to their heart. And that counts for something. One heart is one heart. A heart is a heart. And it now is my most popular video, which I think might have 1.2 million views at this time. And it's a nursing story. And again, very humbly, I never thought people would want to listen to that 1.2 million times. Like, I don't know. It's just very humbling. So I've made that TikTok and realized that it resonated with people, that it was something that they needed to hear in a way that they don't hear it. And I watch a few people that are motivational, and I don't know, there's not a lot of people out there like me that I feel are very relatable, that I hear a lot of people just repeating memes that I've seen on like Instagram or something. And they're like, da, 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 da. And it's just like, that's not even authentic. Like, if people can see through that. But anyways, I try to say what I needed to hear. And I don't know what I needed to hear unless I've walked it. And so that's how I can talk it, because I've walked it. So I'm saying things that I wish somebody had said to me. That's the other thing. I call myself your TikTok bestie, Missy, because a real bestie will tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. Because there have been times in my life when I was in abusive relationships where my besties, it's delicate when you try, when you have a friend who's in a situation, it's like nobody, it's like you just keep letting them go back into the lion's den. So I'm like, no, I'm going to be that friend, that bestie that says, no, what you're doing is insane. It is killing you and you need to stop. And not only should you stop, but you're worth it. You are worth everything it takes to heal. You are worth everything it takes to get out of that situation and be free. So I'm not the friend you call when you just need to vent. I'm not her. I'm the friend you call when you're ready to change your life. If you're tired of sitting in the shitty diaper and you're ready to change your diaper. I'm not the friend you call when you just want to sit and have a pity party. Don't invite me to the pity party. I will knock all that shit over. Do you hear me? I will knock it all over. I'm the friend you call when you're sick and tired of your own shit and you're ready to change your life, because that's what a real bestie does. So that's why I call myself TikTok bestie. I don't think I've ever told that story, actually.
Well, thank you for sharing it here. But when I was diagnosed with cancer 6 years ago, we were driving back from the doctor's office. Christian was driving and I'm in the passenger seat. And I don't think I even looked over at him. All I said was, I'm going to make a video when I get home. And he says, of course you are. Like, that, yeah. Because I wanted people to see the journey without filter. I wanted them to know what I was feeling, what I was thinking. And and there were days when I made videos where there's snot rolling and tears flowing and the hair looks like I went to a tornado. And people were like, it is so good to hear from somebody that says, no, it's not fun. This is not enjoyable. I don't feel like being here today, but I have faith in God, and I believe in the universe, and I know life has something better for me. So I'm going to keep going, see what it is. I'm just stubborn enough to keep going through this. Does that make sense?
I tell people sometimes I continue to show up not despite a problem, but in spite of a problem. Like I'm gonna do this just to spite. Like I don't care. Spite is spite. Just doing it. Like whatever motivates you, just show up. Keep showing up. Keep doing it. I think I was talking about the bracelets. So yeah. So again, this was early in the spring and then summer. And so different things I would say, you make today your bitch, you lack nothing, you're loved beyond measure, you run this. And they wanted merch. They were like, can we please get that on a t-shirt? I knew nothing about merch. I'm just a registered nurse from Louisiana, which I live in Atlanta, Georgia now. But I was like, okay, sure. And so I've made merch. And then I figured out how to do that. And I figured how to do so. And then they were like, we need bracelets. And I was like, okay, give me just a minute. Let me do some research. So now we have the bracelets. So that's what they're saying. They never take their bracelets off. And I think it's just so humbling. When I follow their Instagrams, I follow their TikToks, and when they make a video and I see their bracelet, it hits me in the heart. And I forget sometimes. Sometimes I'll just be going through the day and forget I even have a TikTok. I'm like, oh, I need to check my TikTok. I need to see are there any messages. And there will be 500 new followers. When I was younger, I used to talk a lot. I don't know if you can believe this or not, but I used to talk a lot when I was a child. I used to talk all the time, and I would sing, and I just would talk to anything that would listen. And my mother, my dad left when I was 9, and she had a rough life. It wasn't easy, and she would be frustrated. She would be in a lot of pain from arthritis. And there were just some days where I guess she just couldn't tolerate it, and she would, I guess I just wouldn't shut up. I just wouldn't stop talking. She would tell me to shut up, shut your mouth. Nobody wants to hear you. But it was, and she would sometimes hit me in my mouth. And so to now, not only just to be able to speak freely, and to have it resonate with so many people. And teachers would tell me to shut up and that I talk too much. I heard it from a lot of people. And now people, have paid me to do speaking engagements. And things just come full circle if you wait long enough. Sometimes it's not always right away, but they do come full circle. You just got to give it a little bit of time. So just the bracelets, to see that there are people that want to hear what I have to say is something I have yet to get used to, and I don't think that I ever will. I hope I don't.
I have a story about that, and I'm going to say in just a minute. But I want to remind everybody you're watching Putting Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. We're talking to that Nurse Missy from TikTok and Instagram, and we're talking about following your path, sharing your message, and never shutting up, because I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids that he's great, he's smart, but he talks too much. Well, look what got me now, people. So I want to tell everybody who's commenting, the reason I'm not reading your comments and I'm just posting them is because I don't want you folks to miss what Missy is saying. But if you have a question, please post it. To all of our friends on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, thank you for joining us and asking your questions. If you're watching us on YouTube, will you do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and hit that button so that you know when we have other shows coming on. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, we love questions. I'm open to questions for sure.
Yeah, now we truly wish Nurse Missy would never be quiet. There you go. Christian just met her. For those of you that are watching, this is my boyfriend and the director of the show. He just met her, and he's already hooked on Missy. I don't know if I should get a little jealous or not, but I'm gonna let him have it. So one question that I have though is that you talked about your spirit, your religious upbringing, and now you're into this religious growing up into the spirituality, a lot of people have issues with you have to be one or the other. How have you made peace bringing them both together?
So just learning from myself versus just continuing to believe everything I was taught. Because so much growing up in church didn't make sense. And it was hard to reconcile. So as I just grew up and realized that I know Jesus, like I know Jesus, I know God. So people in religion often take asking questions as defiance and confrontational when truly my intention was just to get to have a better understanding. So I just researched to find answers and just followed my heart and my own spirit and just figured out for myself what made sense. And once I understood the history of religion, and that we've been on the planet, humans have been on the planet for like 4 million years, and realized Jesus never had a Bible. Jesus wasn't a Christian. And just putting things into perspective and realizing that I could know very well that I am a spiritual, eternal being, like they teach in Christianity. You're an eternal soul who's having but I'm having this human experience that's temporary. And I don't have to conform to a religion. A religion is just a belief system. It's how you worship. It's how you pray. It's how you do all these things. And also, as I studied religions across the world, I realized, oh my God, we're all talking about the same person. I tell people, you can call me Missy. You can call me Melissa. Maybe one day you'll say, instead of Missy or Melissa, you'll say, hey, girl. Or maybe one day you'll say, hey, woman. You can call me all different things, but you're still referring to me. So we can call the Creator. We can call Mother, Father, God. We can call the Divine. We can call Allah. We can call Him Abba. We can call Him whatever. We're all referring to the same thing. And he, she, they responds regardless, just as I would respond when you call me Missy or Melissa. But we get hung up on the boxes. We get hung up on the script. And when I took my focus away from conforming and took my focus to my own spiritual fulfillment and what nourished me and made me fulfilled and made me better, that's when stuff got really good. That's when life got really good.
Now, we do have another question on the board.
Yay!
What was the most difficult gift for you to accept?
Oh, gosh. Gosh, that's a good question. Because they kind of meld together in some ways. The most difficult one to accept. Intuition to some degree, because I see and know things about my own self and my own life and will go, dang it, I don't want that to be true, but like it is. So just like the knowing where you can't unknow it, and you're like, dang it, because sometimes it is very helpful. Like, oh yes, this will keep me from a dangerous situation. But then other times where it's like, this is not going to go well. And it's like, oh, but I really want to do this. So sometimes knowing is like, it's a blessing and a curse. But that's anything, right? Anything can be a blessing or a curse. So I love that I have the gifts to help others. That's the most important thing, to help people heal, to help people have peace, to help people learn how to live authentically, to give them hope again, to give them closure on things, to help them uncover what's holding them back, what's stuck. But for myself, it's like, what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. What's good for the gander is always good for the goose. The goose is like, no,
All right, we have another question on the board. What do you wish someone had said to Missy as a kid or a teenager? And then the second part is, was there something you said to you?
What do you wish someone had said to Missy as a kid or teenager? Was there something you said to you that this is temporary? Nobody said it to me, but I remember hearing it very well from Jesus in my spirit team. I remember, of course, I didn't know then that it was my spirit team or my intuition, whatever one wants to call it. Again, you can call it whatever you want. But knowing that the suffering and the things that I was living through, just always hearing, this is temporary, this too shall pass, this too shall pass, this will pass, this is temporary. Because there were some really bad, dark moments, really, really bad. But I just always heard, this is going to pass, it's going to pass, this isn't going to end you. Because, you had those moments where you're like, this is what's going to take me. This is the one I won't come back from. This is the night I won't live through. And just Jesus never left me. Never left me. And just always reminded me, this is temporary. This will pass. The better days are coming. He is my hope. He is hope. Jesus is hope. And that never left me.
We have another question on the board for you. Did the people in your personal life accept your gifts?
Some can only accept my stuff as far as they've accepted their own stuff. Some people just don't understand it. So it's different across the board. Some are like, oh yeah, okay, you can do that. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, it's very varied throughout everybody, friends, family. Yeah, and that's okay. Fortunately, I learned that that's okay. Thank goodness I don't need their validation. So it's all in people are all different stages. Especially, look, even, scripture, Jesus himself could not perform miracles in his own hometown. A prophet can perform no miracles in his own hometown. Jesus himself, people were like, we know your mother. We know your brother. Like, who do you think you are, Jesus? Like, when he was talking, like, I'm the Son of God. And they were like, sir, you are out of order. We know you. We watched you grow up. So there are people in my life that have known me as one in the box. And they like the boxes. Oh, they love a box. And that's where they keep me. And that's okay. They can only meet me as far as they've met themselves, as long as they don't treat me differently or less than. So there's just very strict boundaries. And it's like they just treat me like whatever. And that's okay. And that's okay until their grandmother comes through and wants to tell them shitty husband. That's all right. Whatever. But I'll keep that to myself, Grandma. But, so yeah, they're all in kind of different stages, and that's okay.
And I can understand that because I'm about to hit 14 years clean and sober. And thank you. Yeah. And there's people that I've known longer than that knew me when I was heavy in my addiction.
Oh, yeah.
And they won't, I know they love me and I know they care about me, but they will not let me forget who I was at one point. And sometimes it gets annoying, but there's other times when I'm like, thank you for grounding me and not letting me get too big. But yeah. Okay, we have another question for you on the board.
Okay.
Can you share one thing that you've been wanting to share with us but have been afraid? Ooh, girl. Tammy went all in. Tammy was like, I'm going all in right now.
Okay, hang on. Let me see. Something that I haven't told them that I've been afraid to tell them?
Yeah. Can you share one thing that you've been wanting to share with us but have been afraid? Tammy was like, I'm gonna play that Uno card.
I love it. I'm trying to think of something that I've been afraid to tell, but I'm very, very transparent.
I'm gonna say,
I've been wanting to share, but have been afraid. I can't think of a thing. They know all my truth. They know all
Tammy,
my.
we're gonna put that question on hold till the end of the show, and then we'll figure out what that is.
Yeah, no, all my gifts, everything I'm doing, all my goals, like they know everything. I'm not keeping anything. Like they know I'm wanting to start a podcast. I've started a YouTube channel, but I haven't done any YouTube videos for it. I've just uploaded some old videos, so they know everything that Gosh, something I'm afraid to. I'm so transparent with them. I can't think of anything right now. Oh, can't think.
Tammy's laughing. How dare you, Tammy? You stumped her. Do not break her before the end of the show, please.
But
Do not break
I'm
her.
so transparent with them. I'm
Oh, we got
so
gizzards.
transparent with them.
Well, let me remind everybody that you are watching Putting Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza, and our guest today is the wonderful Missy. I love her. I adore her. You guys love her. If you're watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, please share your comments or questions. Make sure that you, if you're watching us on YouTube, will you please follow us? So we need followers. We want more followers. Who doesn't want more? Now, at this moment in the show is where we usually ask our guests to share some words of wisdom. So that Nurse Missy, what words of wisdom do you have for the audience?
Words of wisdom, Lord, words of wisdom that I haven't shared. Gosh, so many of them, I've heard it all up to so far. I would have to reiterate things that I know to be true. You lack nothing. You have everything you need. You might have just forgotten that it's there, or it might be covered up, but you have everything. You don't need the validation out there. Don't put your power outside of yourself. So you lack nothing. You can rely on yourself. You're loved beyond measure by a God, a creator, whatever it is, your higher power. You're loved beyond anything that you can possibly fathom. You're supported by more than you can possibly fathom with the human eye and the third eye. You're just loved and held and protected, and that the universe is constantly conspiring for our good. That there is nothing in this universe, there is no God that is trying to conspire against you or punish you. That you run your life. You run this literally. You run your life. You create your reality based on what you truly believe in the core. So if you have a belief of fear and lack, then that's what you're going to see. If your choices are made based in fear and lack, then that's what you're going to get. But when you dare to break free, and you dare to be bold, and you dare to just be authentic and follow your heart and not the herd, holy shit, that's when it gets good. It might be lonely, but it is worth it. And your identity, your truth, is not in what you do as a career. Your truth, your identity is not in your title. Your identity is who you are as an energetic being, as a soul that is eternal. That is who you are. Not what people called you, not the names, you're not a wife, you're not a nurse, you're not a deadbeat dad, you're not a piece of shit, you're not a liar, you're not an addict. You are a child of God. You are created in the image of God. And those other things are just things. And you don't have to attach, and you don't have to identify as those things. You don't have to be the things that they called you. And you don't even have to believe the things that you think. You have a million thoughts that run through your head every day. You don't have to believe every single one of them. They're not all true. Believe the truth that is that you are an energetic being, soul, that is made in the perfect image of God.
That's all. We have two more questions. And I'm trying to listen to you and follow the questions, but girl, one day we're going to take this on the road. We are going to tour the country.
I'm ready.
Tour the country.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm back.
Because I want to share that story about the trip to New Orleans that I read for you before you left. And if you don't mind me sharing that story.
Please, okay. Yeah.
So before we do that,
it's your show.
Okay, so a moment that has made you Missy, your hardest nights. What brought you out of those experiences? What was one of your hardest nights? And we have a couple more questions, so I can see them, folks. We'll bring to them.
Okay. Hang on. Let me put one of my hardest nights. One of them, car accident I had when I was 18, and I should not have survived it, but I did. Jesus pulled me out of that. And then another night after I had left my first husband and I was living in an apartment, all I had was like a bed and a love seat, and I had just left, and finally I just had this moment where I was in my apartment alone, and I just finally, it all hit me what I had done, that I had finally left. that I was finally free. And I just had this moment this night where I just sat on the floor and cried. Partly relief because I was realized I was safe, but also fear because I didn't know if I knew how to live by myself. And that was a hard night. That was a hard night. Me and Jesus stayed up real late that night.
Damn. It just brought back some memories. Here's another question for you. What is your biggest fear? Oops.
My biggest fear is that if I ever let Jesus down, if I ever disappointed God in any way, if I ever had an opportunity to encourage someone and speak to their heart and failed. That's my biggest fear. Is not helping someone that I could, not saving someone, helping someone out of a dark pit because I didn't stand up and speak the truth at the time. If I saw someone was hurting and didn't take the opportunity to speak to their heart.
We have so much. People just adore you.
They're amazing. They're amazing. There's no that Nurse Missy from TikTok without those people. That's period. That is period. End of story. That if all the followers unfollowed tomorrow, there's content, but if there's no one to see it, then it doesn't matter. I can make all the videos in the world. And that's what I do. I make videos. But once it's heard by the ears and received by the heart, that's when it's a message. So if there's no one to receive it, then it's just a video.
I like what Christian's saying is you will never fail God or Jesus when you share the love that you do with so many.
I hope so.
I mean,
Hey, Jen Sounds. Tell Presley I said hello.
So many people are. So I'm going to tell everybody we're in the last 8 minutes of the show.
Okay, yes. So, what was there a question, Daniel? Something you wanted to?
Hardcore crew. Well, people are just like, I haven't really had to do.
They're amazing.
Okay, so here's a comment.
So I'm from Louisiana, where we have Mardi Gras. And so we have crews. So you have like the crew of Gemini, you have the crew of Centaur, you have the whatever crew, whatever crew. And it's like they have their own parades and they have their own beads and they have their own parties and they have their own royalty. So like the Queen of Centaur or whatever. So, and they do this every year. They have different royalty cards. So it's crew. So last year they were like, we need something to call ourselves. We need something like, what is this community? So we called it Crew of Missy, but with a K, because it's usually like crew, like, well, KREWE, just to put a little spin on it. So anyway, so it's Crew of Missy, and it's because that's like, it's a crew, like a parade crew, like so that's where the Crew of Missy comes in, and that's what's on the bracelets and stuff. And they use like the hashtags.
I'm from Houston, so I know.
Yes. So that's where
crew
comes from. That's where crew comes from, and we use the fleur-de-lis. Like I have one graphic design for merch. It's the fleur-de-lis with Crew of Missy. So yeah, really cute. It's just it's just a sense of community is so important. Inclusivity, just total inclusion, and without truly all inclusive. The crew.
I put up your TikTok, like they don't know where to find you, like this.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to tell the story of.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to get T-shirts for us. Christian and I need T-shirts. So we're going to have to go buy a T-shirt. Okay, so for all of you, Missy and I met, and the day that we really connected, I did a reading for her, and I was like, because that was the whole thing. Like, you really were there for me, but unbeknownst to her. She was there for me, and I'm like, can I offer you a reading? And then I did a reading for her, but then we would connect. We would just like, hey, let's grab coffee in the morning, and we would talk. So she was going to go on vacation. She was going to go to Louisiana, and I was like, be very aware that somebody will approach you who's going to recognize you. You're going to be recognized. You're going to be approached. So I'm like, this is the beginning of your next journey. So just be prepared. I just got chills. And I remember the look you gave me, like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever.
Right.
And then what happened?
Me and my husband are sitting at a restaurant, like in Bourbon, like on Bourbon Street, and a woman rushes the table and she says, oh my God, are you not Nurse Missy? And my husband was like mid gumbo, and he was like, and I was like, told you, I'm famous. What's good? I didn't really say that. But I was like, yeah, and she was so sweet. It was her birthday weekend, but it's really interesting because she was from Florida. I was visiting New Orleans, and she had actually been standing outside the restaurant and had seen me, which I was wearing my high bun. Everybody recognizes the bun. And she was very sweet. It was cool. We took some pictures. But when we were done, I sat back down, and it was just because it was a very busy restaurant. And we're just sitting there, just we're like the most normal couple. And she was like, are you that Nurse Missy? And I was just like, yeah. That was new for me. And again, so I sat down and I just looked at my husband. I was like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm okay. You okay? I was like, I'm okay. But I think still don't think he really realizes. I don't think he really, again, a prophet can't do miracles in his own hometown. Like, he'll always just see me as like, the woman he married, which is fine. It's really interesting. So it was very, very surreal for him for sure. But yes, you told me, yeah, you're going to be recognized. And I was like, okay, cool. And yeah, it did. And yeah, that's what happened. So,
and the only reason I knew is because you texted me that day. You're like, guess what happened? And I was like, of course, the cocky version of me was like, well, I told you, of course it happened. Like, of course. But the inside of me was like, oh my God, it actually happened. It actually happened.
But that's the thing with like and that's one thing I love about your energy, because I don't connect with just a whole lot of people. I'm very, very protective of my energy. I have very stringent boundaries. So that's one thing I love about connecting with you is you're very humble as well. You're gifted, but you're not boastful. And my readings are very accurate. My intuitive, my mediumship it's spot on. But you're still humble when you have those moments where you're like, holy shit, that really happened. Like, and that you keep that humility that I think is what's so grounding. Oh, are you there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So just having that humility, and I love that about yourself as well, as you just keep it humble and just very, that humility. So I love that. And yes, but you had those moments where you're like, oh wow, that really happened, and you just no matter how long you've been doing it, you're like, wow, that's amazing to just have that connection and to be able to relay that to someone and give them that. It's just, man, it's just such a beautiful freaking gift.
It's beautiful. Because I started this journey 9 years ago, and although, yes, like you say, like there are things that, I mean, I'm on TikTok and I'm doing my breakfast readings every morning, and I don't know some of these people, but like you, some people are just regulars now, and you're like, didn't I tell you this last week? Like, why didn't you listen to me? Like, I think, but. Mr. Missy, they're calling your husband Mr. Missy now.
Mr. Missy, so he is my husband is very private. But we also, our work and where we live, we need to be very mindful. So we try to be very just smart. Also, there have been, not everybody that sees you on social media has a good concept of reality. So in my husband, we don't have children. It just wasn't in our cards, unfortunately. But my husband is the only human on this earth that I'm fully responsible for. And when I tell you that man, I have a fortress around that man. Like So he is very private. I keep him very, but he doesn't want to be. I've asked him to make TikToks. He just has his voice on some he'll let me just kind of do a quick, but he doesn't want his face, and I get it. He is very, it's a safety, it's a boundary, so I get it. So that's
Well,
fine.
Missy, we're down to the hour. Please come back. Will you come back and do another show with us?
Please. Yeah.
Awesome. And we've already invited Missy. For those of you that are new to Little Mexican Productions, before she goes, I'm going to show you what we do here. So we have a couple of different shows on the network. On Wednesdays, we have the Christian and Daniel show. On Fridays, it's my reading card show, the Cardivo. And then on Saturdays, we have 2 shows at noon and 5, so you can catch us on any of those channels. So on the Christian and Daniel show, sometimes we have guest co-hosts to come and join us. And you get to just sit in with us and chit-chat. And there's no questions or answers. It's just a bunch of chit-chat. So you get to be in the room with Christian and I and chit-chat. So will you please join us as a co-host on that
3
show?
queens, yes. Yes. Yes, deformation.
You're in. That was the test. That was the test. If you could do a snap, then you are in. You're in. So I want to make sure that I get everybody's comments up so that you can see them when you rewatch this.
Hey, Shelly.
Thank you so much for everybody who joined us, everybody who is new to our show, that followed Missy over. Thank you so much. If you're watching us on YouTube, will you just do us a favor and subscribe to our channel? We really would appreciate that.
Especially if I get to come back. Y'all don't want to miss those notifications.
Yes.
Sure. You don't want to miss that.
So, Missy, I'm going to put you in the green room, and I'll be right back for you while I say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you to everybody that showed up for me. I love y'all. Y'all know that. Y'all, it means everything to my heart. So, thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you, Daniel and Christian. Thank you.
I'll be right back for you.
All right, honey.
All right, for all of you watching, thank you so much. For all of you who watch us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for keeping the thread going. Also, I want to promote, because that's part of my job, this is my book, Grumpy Bunny and This Colors Game. You can find it on any of the sites. It's a meditation book for kids. So if you have children, this is a great book to get them inspired into guided meditation. I will finish up by posting all your comments, because you guys are so wonderful, and I want you to make sure that you read them. Thank you. You made the show. Join us here next week for any of our 3 shows. For now, I'm Daniel G. Garza. Remember, this is Pretty Together Conversations, where you come from, where you are now, and what the journey's been like. And I hope you were inspired and motivated just like we were. For now, my name is Daniel Garza, and hey, put it together. We'll see you next week. Bye.